Welcome back to the workshop. I hope you're keeping safe and well. Just like millions of people around the world, we're in lockdown. But aside from pouncing around with watches, I've been binge watching Netflix shows and trying to flatten the curve of my ever-expanding waistline. We're certainly living in some very interesting times, to say the least. But in any case, I thought I would jump onto YouTube and answer a few of the questions that I've found in the comments of some of the videos that I've published in the past. Now, this is something that I like to do from time to time, so if you have any questions or comments, then please leave a message in the comments section below this video. Fact or myth? You can damage your watch if you change the date between 9 PM and 3 AM? So can you damage your watch if you adjust the calendar whilst the time being displayed is between 9 PM and 3 AM? And this is a common question that I've been asked over the years. Is this a fact or is it a myth? Well, there can definitely be a risk involved, and I will show you why. But first of all, you may be wondering what the hell we're talking about here. So let me demonstrate. So here we have a regular everyday mechanical watch with a calendar mechanism. The question is regarding the safe usage of the rapid date change feature found with many of these kinds of watches. Watches designed with a rapid date change will allow you to set the calendar without having to forward the hands of the watch, and this can greatly reduce wear and tear. So if I pull the crown out here to the mid position and turn it, you will notice I can set the date. So can damage occur if we attempt to do this whilst the natural calendar change is in motion? This will typically be between 9 or 10 PM and 2 or 3 AM, and indeed, if I do attempt this, I can definitely feel resistance, and this is a sign to me that damage can occur should I force the calendar over. Now, whilst some movements are designed to help prevent damage, many are not, and therefore it is best practice to utilize the rapid date change feature well away from the period of time it takes for the calendar to naturally change over. Is it okay to have the balance wheel running when you remove the end stone? Is there any chance it could damage the balance staff? Removing the end stone from a balance assembly whilst the watch is working carries no extra risk over removing it whilst the watch is stopped, as far as I'm concerned. Of course, it is a fiddly task, and doing it with the balance wheel stationary may be advisable, especially if you are new to watch repair. An extension to this question may be to ask, is it safe to remove the whole balance assembly whilst the watch is running? Now, it should be absolutely fine to remove the balance assembly from a watch movement whilst the watch is running, although different watch repairers may have different opinions on this. I personally have no issues with removing a balance either with the power applied or without, but I would argue that it is easier and perhaps less risky with the watch fully wound down. And either way, the same applies. You lift the balance cock just far enough so that you can turn the balance in such a way that the impulse pin will be disengaged from the pallet horns, and this way the balance can be safely lifted from the movement. Now, having said that, when refitting the balance, I would recommend that you do apply a little bit of wind to the mainspring so that the pallets can lock into position. This will make it easier to fit the balance with the impulse pin on the correct side of the pallet horn. Now, this way the balance can be safely lifted from the movement. But having said that, when refitting the balance, I would recommend that you do apply a little bit of wind to the mainspring so that the pallets can lock in position. And this will make it easier to fit the balance with the impulse pin on the correct side of the pallet horns. But even if the impulse pin does end up on the wrong side, then as long as the balance cock is not pressed home, you should be able to gently lift the balance and position it correctly. The next questions are in regards to the Seiko chronograph watch that I've been working on recently. If you haven't seen that video yet, then there's a link in the description of this video. How long did it take you to get the balance spring how you wanted it? Well, I'm not entirely sure, but I would guess that it was around 30 minutes of tweaking. Now, it goes without saying that the task of manipulating hairsprings should be patiently undertaken. And if you're new to working on damaged hairsprings, then I have 3 words of advice for you. Practice, practice, and practice. And it also goes without saying that you should make sure that you practice on scrappers and not customer watches. But unfortunately, this is the kind of work that never comes easy to most people, me included. I can humbly tell you that in the past, whilst learning how to manipulate springs, it's possible that I've damaged more than I've repaired. But in seriousness, you can gain confidence and a real feel for hairspring manipulation once you've damaged a few and recovered many. So, practice, practice, practice.
How is it possible to obtain such damage on the balance wheel?
Well, that's just it. Of course, this kind of damage doesn't happen under normal circumstances. This watch was wrecked by abuse. There's no two ways about it. Now, I don't know exactly how that damage might have occurred, but if I was to guess, I would imagine that somebody was particularly clumsy when removing the movement from the case sometime in the past. Now, with the Seiko that I was working on, you may well have noticed quite a bit of corrosion, and this may have impeded the removal of the movement sometime in the past. An inexperienced watch repairer may not be so careful when attempting to remove the movement, and it may well be tempting to lift the movement out by pulling on the balance wheel, as it is visually the easiest thing to grab hold of. But it's also one of the most fragile and easy to break components in the watch movement. Now, this particular balance wheel did have quite a bend in one location, indicating that it was levered up from that point. It should be taken as a warning that even a very light amount of pressure to certain parts within a watch movement can cause quite brutal and possibly irreversible damage.
So how did you like working through the microscope?
Well, honestly, I didn't like it, and I've never really liked working under even an optical microscope. I would have much preferred to manipulate this spring hunched over with a strong eyeglass. However, I was interested to give it a go and see if it could be done. And the reason? Well, it was easier to film for the video. Now, I believe microscopes are extremely valid tools in horology for the purposes of inspection, but to me personally, not so useful for practical watch repairing. But that being said, there are many tasks where a microscope would be invaluable to some types of repairs, but in my opinion, manipulating hairsprings is not really one of them. I definitely prefer using an eyeglass.
Is the stem bent right near the crown?
Yes, it does look like that's the case, but actually, it's not the stem which is damaged, but rather it's the crown. Now, I have a new one and it will be replaced as part of the continuation of this job. Now, speaking of which, the follow-up video will be delayed, and this is because I'm still waiting for parts. Now, regretfully, I've had two separate sellers now telling me that the parts for this watch have been sent back to them due to their post offices restricting parcel deliveries to the country that I'm in. Now, I guess that I'll just have to wait. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. But it's okay, I have some other interesting projects to keep us going, including the conclusion of the Chinese chronograph video, which I will edit and try to upload next, and I have this nice little chappy, a Rolex GMT Pepsi, which needs a good service. So make sure that you're subscribed if you've not already done so. It is free, and if you click the bell icon, you'll be informed whenever I upload new content. And make sure that you check out my website if you are interested in learning more about watch repair. I have a full instant access video course. There's a link to this and all my other social media below in the description of this video. So thanks to all my patrons who've helped to make this video channel possible. And with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.